When we moved in, the neighborhood felt calm. Friendly neighbors, quiet streets, and a clear set of HOA rules we thought applied equally to everyone. Then we noticed something. The same rule that applied to us was ignored for others. A neighbor parked a work van in their driveway for weeks. Nothing. A second neighbor had blinds misaligned for months. Nothing. Yet, the first time our grass grew half an inch above the HOA, a notice appeared on our door. We followed every guideline, every letter, every subtle instruction. Yet the fines began. Small at first, $50 here, $75 there, but consistent like clockwork. At the next HOA meeting, Karen, the president, presented the budget. Everything seemed normal. Then we asked a simple question. Why are some residents fined repeatedly while others who break the same rules face no action? Her eyes narrowed. A smile that didn't reach her eyes. Board discretion, she said coldly. Discretion. It was clear. Some were untouchable. Others were targets. After the meeting, we started noticing her car, the same dark SUV patrolling the streets. Slow, intentional, checking, watching. And every violation letter after that felt personal. Not about rules, not about fairness, it was about control. And we had just become the focus. After that meeting, the violations doubled. It wasn't subtle anymore. Mailbox, too reflective. Holiday lights improperly spaced. Garden stones, non-compliant color. The neighbor across the street had a trailer parked on their lawn for 2 months. No notice, no warning, no fine. But we received 3 violations in a single week. When we compared letters with 2 other families, we discovered something disturbing. Same handwriting style, same inspection timestamps. Different enforcement outcomes. One family had been fined for the exact same lawn issue the board-friendly neighbor had, but their fine was waived. Ours wasn't. We requested the enforcement logs. Karen delayed. We requested documentation of warnings issued to other homes. Privacy concerns, she replied. Yet our violations were discussed openly at meetings. Then the fines increased. $100, $250. Repeat offense fees. We weren't repeat offenders. We were repeat targets. One night we saw Karen standing at the corner of our property line, speaking quietly with another board member while pointing at our driveway. The next morning, another notice. That's when it became undeniable. The rules weren't being enforced. They were being weaponized. And the more we questioned it, the more expensive it became. We started documenting everything. Dates, times, photos, and patterns began to surface. Every violation we received was preceded by one thing. We had spoken up, asked questions, requested transparency, mentioned fairness. Meanwhile, certain households seemed immune. One board member's cousin installed a backyard shed with approval. No penalty. Another resident hosted loud weekend parties. Complaints dismissed as community bonding. But when our guest parked overnight in the street, immediate citation. We gathered proof. Screenshots of HOA newsletters, copies of violation letters, photos showing identical violations at other homes with no consequences. Then we discovered something bigger. Selective enforcement is not just unfair, it's legally risky. Our attorney explained it clearly. If rules are enforced inconsistently, they can become unenforceable. That changed everything. Because now this wasn't about minor fines, it was about liability. At the next meeting, we presented side-by-side comparisons. Silence filled the room. Karen tried to interrupt, tried to call for adjournment, but other neighbors began speaking. Quiet ones. Residents who had been fined privately. They weren't alone, neither were we. And for the first time, Karen didn't look confident, she looked exposed. The emergency meeting was packed, standing room only. People who had never attended before were suddenly interested. Because once the pattern became visible, everyone started checking their own letters. The vote to audit enforcement practices passed, not unanimously, but decisively. An independent review followed. The findings were uncomfortable. Selective enforcement confirmed. Waived fines for preferred residents. Aggressive penalties for those who questioned decisions. Policies rewritten, enforcement logs made public, clear documentation standards required for every violation. Karen resigned before formal removal. She called it personal reasons, but everyone knew. The neighborhood changed after that. Not perfect, but balanced. Because fairness isn't about strict rules, it's about equal application. HOAs aren't supposed to control people, they're supposed to protect community standards. Rules are enforced on some, but ignored for others. It stops being governance. It becomes favoritism. and favoritism eventually collapses under scrutiny. We didn't win because we were loud. We won because we were consistent, because sunlight always exposes uneven shadows. If you've ever faced retaliation for asking questions in your HOA, workplace, or community, share your experience in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share. Because when power goes unchecked, it doesn't stop on its own. It has to be confronted.